get hit. So I'm gonna say LeBron James. And you know what? Let the debate begin. And I don't give a rat's ass if they do. I just telling you who I would like. That's all.
I said that LeBron will. I find him to be the most talented player I've ever seen in NBA history. Got a problem with that statement by me?
Well, you sound like you're threatening me.
No, I'm not threatening you. I'm.
Karl Malone just said what everyone was thinking, but nobody dared to say on national television. LeBron James, the self-proclaimed king, got called out in the most disrespectful way possible, and the whole basketball world is still picking their jaws up off the floor. This wasn't some random hater on Twitter. This was a two-time MVP, a Hall of Famer, one of the greatest power forwards to ever touch a basketball, publicly humiliating LeBron's GOAT claims with facts that can't be ignored. What did Karl say that has LeBron fans in absolute shambles? Why is the media trying to bury this story? And most importantly, did the mailman just deliver the truth bomb that ends the GOAT debate forever? Buckle up, because what you're about to hear changes everything.
LeBron, you saw them both
I did. I saw him in person.
Like, come on.
GOAT James, man.
Come on, Shad.
I mean, because you think about it.
Come on.
Because he could do more. He could rebound better.
So what do we go off of, dude? Because this is the argument that I have today. Like, you know, like better player is one thing.
Yes.
Like, is he just like, let's take away all the accolades?
Yes.
Like LeBron.
For over a decade now, we've been told the same story over and over again. LeBron James is the greatest basketball player of all time. It's not up for debate. It's not a conversation. It's a fact. At least that's what the media wants you to believe. Turn on any sports network, scroll through any basketball page on social media, and you'll see it everywhere. LeBron is the GOAT. LeBron is the king. LeBron is untouchable. Anyone who dares question this narrative gets attacked, ridiculed, called a hater, told they don't understand basketball. And LeBron himself, he's fully embraced this identity, the self-appointed king who tattooed "Chosen One" across his back before he ever won a championship, the guy who orchestrated his own Decision television special, the player who's had more control over his narrative than any athlete in sports history. But here's the thing about building yourself up as untouchable. Eventually, someone's going to test that theory, and in January 2025, that someone turned out to be Karl Malone. Now, before we get into what Karl said, you need to understand why this matters. Karl Malone isn't some bitter old player clinging to past glory. He's not a talking head desperate for attention. The mailman is a two-time MVP, an 11-time All-NBA first-team selection, and the second leading scorer in NBA history. When Karl Malone talks about greatness, about what it takes to be the best, people listen, or at least they should. But what he said about LeBron on national television in early 2025, nobody was ready for that level of honesty.
See it.
I can feel it
oozing out of. You can feel it. You can feel it just oozing out. Yeah.
Who would you rather have as a teammate? Jordan or LeBron?
You got a man. Hold on. Do you have a man crush on Michael Jordan today? What's the deal here? I don't know. I'm just asking that question here. Hold on. Do Dan Patrick, my friend, my buddy, have...
Let's set the scene. Karl Malone appears on a major sports network for what's supposed to be a standard interview about the current state of basketball. Nothing controversial, nothing dramatic, just a Hall of Famer giving his perspective on the modern game. The host, trying to generate some buzz, asks Karl the question that's been asked 1,000,000 times. Where does LeBron rank in your all-time list? Is he the GOAT? Most former players play it safe here. They give the diplomatic answer. They say something like, LeBron's definitely in the conversation, or you can't compare eras. They avoid controversy because nobody wants to deal with the social media backlash that comes with criticizing King James. But Karl Malone, the mailman, looked directly into that camera and delivered a response that stopped the entire basketball world in its tracks. He didn't hesitate. He didn't sugarcoat it. He said what millions of basketball fans had been thinking but were too afraid to say out loud. And the way he said it? Cold, calculated, backed up with facts that LeBron's biggest defenders can't argue against. The studio went silent. The host's face showed pure shock, and within minutes, social media absolutely exploded. Did Karl Malone say that has the internet in chaos? Karl started by addressing the elephant in the room, championships. He pointed out something that LeBron fans hate to acknowledge. When you're calling yourself the greatest ever, you better have the resume to back it up. And I'm sorry, but a 4-6 finals record doesn't scream greatest of all time to me. 4 wins, 6 losses. That's LeBron's championship record. And Karl didn't just throw that number out there and move on. He broke it down piece by piece, comparing it to the player everyone knows as the real GOAT, Michael Jordan. Michael went 6-0 in the finals. 6 championships, 6 finals MVPs, never let it go to a Game 7. That's greatness. That's what a killer looks like. You don't get to lose more finals than you win and call yourself the king. But Karl wasn't done. He went after the super team narrative, the part of LeBron's legacy that even casual fans can't ignore. LeBron's had to team hop his entire career to win, Karl said, his voice cutting through the studio like a knife. He couldn't win in his first stint, so he ran to Miami to play with 2 other All-Stars. That didn't work anymore, so he went back home and got another All-Star traded there. Then he jumped to the West Coast to team up with another top 5 player. That's not what GOATs do. GOATs make their teammates better. They don't abandon ship when things get tough. The host tried to interject, tried to play devil's advocate, but Karl wasn't having it. He kept going, pointing out LeBron's finals performances when it mattered most. The 2011 meltdown against a team that had no business beating that stacked Miami squad. The times he deferred in crucial moments, instead of taking over like Jordan always did. There's a difference between being great and being the greatest. LeBron James is a great basketball player, one of the best ever, but the greatest? No, not even close, and people need to stop pretending otherwise just because the media tells them to. The silence in that studio was deafening. You could feel the tension through the screen. The host quickly tried to move to another topic, but the damage was done. The mailman had delivered, and there was no taking it back. Within hours, the clip was everywhere. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Everyone was talking about it. LeBron fans were in meltdown mode, calling Karl every name in the book. But the truth is, a lot of people were nodding their heads in agreement. Finally, someone with credibility had said what needed to be said. Here's where it gets really interesting, because Karl Malone didn't just throw out opinions. He backed everything up with facts that LeBron's defenders have been dodging for years. Let's talk about that finals record. 4 wins, 6 losses. LeBron fans love to spin this as at least he made it to the finals 10 times, like losing is somehow an accomplishment. But Karl shut that down immediately. You think Magic Johnson brags about the finals he lost? Karl had said during the interview. You think Larry Bird put up a banner for coming in 2nd place? No. Champions remember the wins, not the participation trophies. And he's absolutely right. When we talk about the greatest players ever, we talk about what they won, not how many times they showed up and fell short. Jordan never lost in the finals, not once. 6 trips, 6 rings, 6 finals MVPs. That's the standard for greatness. But Karl went deeper than just championships. He talked about the eye test, about what greatness actually looks like when the pressure is at its highest. When the game was on the line, you knew Michael was taking that shot, Karl explained. You knew Kobe was taking that shot. They wanted that moment. They lived for it. LeBron? How many times have we seen him pass to a role player in the clutch because he didn't want the blame if it missed? The 2011 finals, against a team that shouldn't have stood a chance, LeBron averaged 17.8 points per game and completely disappeared in the 4th quarters. That's not GOAT behavior. That's choking on the biggest stage in basketball. And then there's the team hopping. This is the part that bothers even some LeBron fans. The guy has played for 3 different franchises, hand-picking his teammates, demanding trades for all-stars, basically constructing super teams wherever he goes. Karl called this out directly. Michael Jordan never left to join Scottie Pippen on another team. He made Scottie Pippen who he was. That's what the greatest do. They elevate everyone around them. They don't go shopping for help every few years. The stats don't lie, the context doesn't lie, and Karl Malone laid it all out for the world to see. No filter, no political correctness, just cold, hard truth. Social media went into overdrive. LeBron fans were scrambling to defend their king, but the arguments were weak. "Karl never won a ring," they shouted, trying to discredit his opinion. But that's a lazy comeback. Karl's not claiming to be the GOAT, he's simply pointing out that LeBron isn't either. And the more you look at the numbers, the harder it becomes to argue with Karl's logic. Now here's what makes this entire situation even more fascinating: the silence. LeBron James is one of the most active athletes on social media. The guy tweets about everything: social justice, politics, random thoughts at 2 a.m., you name it. But after Karl Malone's interview dropped, nothing. Radio silence. His camp hasn't issued a statement. His media friends are doing their best to bury the story, barely mentioning it on their shows. It's like everyone in LeBron's circle is hoping this just goes away if they ignore it long enough. But the internet doesn't forget. Basketball fans don't forget. And the longer LeBron stays quiet, the more people start to wonder, did Karl actually hit a nerve? Is there some truth to what he said that LeBron can't defend against? Other legends have started weighing in too, though most of them are being more subtle than Karl. A few former players have liked tweets questioning LeBron's GOAT status. Some have made vague comments about real killers and championship DNA without mentioning names. The message is clear, even if they won't say it outright. What's really telling is the generational divide this has exposed. Older fans, the ones who watched Jordan dominate the 90s, are overwhelmingly siding with Karl. They remember what true greatness looked like. They remember a player who never let his team lose when it mattered most. Younger fans, the ones who grew up with LeBron, are desperately trying to defend him, but their arguments keep coming back to the same tired talking points: longevity, stat accumulation, making the finals in a weak Eastern Conference. None of that addresses what Karl actually said, that LeBron's resume doesn't match his GOAT claims. The media's response has been predictable. The big networks barely touched the story. A few talking heads tried to dismiss Karl's comments as old man yelling at clouds energy, but you can tell they're uncomfortable. They've invested years into building the LeBron GOAT narrative, and Karl just poked massive holes in it with facts they can't dispute. This isn't some hot take from a podcaster trying to go viral. This is Karl Malone, one of the 75 greatest players in NBA history, speaking truth that the basketball world has been dancing around for years. And the uncomfortable reality? He's right. Let's be real for a second. Karl Malone's comments hurt because they're rooted in truth that LeBron fans don't want to acknowledge. Nobody's saying LeBron isn't great. He's clearly one of the best players to ever touch a basketball. The longevity, the versatility, the basketball IQ, it's all elite level. But being great and being the greatest are two completely different things. The GOAT isn't just about accumulating stats over 20-plus years. It's not about how many all-star games you made or how many points you scored. It's about what you did when everything was on the line. It's about championships. It's about finals performances. It's about being the absolute best when it mattered most. And by those standards, LeBron falls short. Way short. 4 championships in 6 tries when you handpicked your teammates and jumped to different franchises to maximize your chances? That's not GOAT territory. That's great player territory. There's a difference. Karl Malone understands this because he lived it. He was one of the best players of his era, put up incredible numbers, made it to the finals twice. but he couldn't get over the hump. And you know what Karl never did? Call himself the GOAT, because he understood that greatness requires more than just individual statistics. That's the uncomfortable reality LeBron and his fans need to face. You don't get to crown yourself the greatest ever without the resume to back it up. And right now, LeBron's resume has too many holes in it for that conversation to be taken seriously by anyone who actually knows basketball. The GOAT debate has always been about Jordan. It's always going to be about Jordan. 6 championships, 6 finals MVPs, never lost when it mattered most, never ran to join another superstar's team. That's the standard. That's what greatness looks like. LeBron can be in the top 5, maybe top 3 if you're being generous, but the GOAT? Karl Malone just reminded everyone why that's never going to happen, no matter how much the media pushes the narrative. And here's the thing, this conversation isn't going away. Karl opened the floodgates. Other former players are going to feel more comfortable speaking up now. The truth about LeBron's legacy is finally getting the honest examination it deserves, without the media filter, without the fear of backlash. LeBron's legacy is officially on trial, and the verdict isn't looking good for the self-proclaimed king. So where do you stand? Is Karl Malone right, or did he cross the line? Does LeBron's finals record disqualify him from GOAT status, or is making it to 10 finals impressive enough on its own? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's have this debate the media refuses to have. At the end of the day, Karl Malone did what legends do. He spoke truth, consequences be damned. The mailman delivered, and basketball fans everywhere are better for it. Whether you agree with him or not, you can't deny that he backed up every word with facts that are impossible to ignore. This is the conversation basketball needed. No more tiptoeing around LeBron's feelings, no more media-manufactured narratives, just honest analysis of what greatness really means and whether LeBron actually measures up. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want more honest basketball content that isn't afraid to tell the truth, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We're not here to protect feelings, we're here to talk real basketball. Let's keep this conversation going.